Alright, so in this tutorial I'll show you how to go through the Javadocs for Chattriggers because they're very useful whenever you get to know how to use them, obviously. I'll set this to dark mode. Here you have all the packages, for example, libraries, renderer, listeners, all this stuff. You can go to like libraries, then there's common libraries, which is like chatlib, which is very, it's one of the most used ones for sending a chat message, text to chat. And then you can also do .say, says a chat as if you were like the actual, as if the person sent it. So that's basically how you find these. Then you can also search here for the registers. There's all of these registers. I'd recommend just searching for I register. Then you'll get the interface. And then you go inside of your functions, and functions will have every single register that you can use. Registers like basically just listeners that trigger whenever this event is sent to the client. So for example, every client tick, this the function that you the callback function that you put in will run, and it'll have an argument as a tick elapsed. Which a tick elapsed is just basically the entire tick since the game has started, which is kind of useless, but it's just there, you know. It's also the priorities. You can set priorities to registers. I can go to like the action bar, for example, which is basically the same as the chat one, but this is just for the action bar, which is the like stuff that happens above your hotbar, basically. For example, if we use Hypixel Skyblock as an example, it'll be this will only trigger the like health bar, or not bar, rather the text, the health text, the mana text, and the defense text, stuff like that. There's also this one also has available modifiers, which is trigger if cancelled, sets a criteria, and sets a parameter, and obviously this is priority. For this one, it's just essentially the same as the chat trigger, so it just sets a criteria and stuff like this. It tells you what it does and stuff. So that's basically how you look at these, how you find these. There's also the extension inside of VS Code that just tells you what, like all of them here. So yeah, it also gives you the documentation of what they do. For example, if I use register tick, then put that there, the callback function, and it's going to say elapsed ticks. Obviously, there's a number here. Then we finish the callback function. Now we can hover over this, and it'll tell you what it does. Registers a new trigger that runs before every game tick. Passes through one argument, which is the ticks. It's essentially the same as the docs, but the docs is like kind of more useful if you're a little bit lost. So for example, like client. It's an abstract class client. We go here, it tells you what functions it has, right? Now we can go into types, and here it has a companion. So we can go inside of the companion, and now the companion has a camera or a current UI, which these are just objects inside of the client class. So we go inside of functions. Now in here, we can get the chat UI, can get free memory. So for this, what you're going to do is you don't really need to pass in the companion, as for example, if you're looking at that, you might think that you need to do client dot companion, then dot whatever the function is, right? Well, not necessarily. You just need to do client dot connect, disconnect, get frames. This one is not properly documented. You just have to change it to that to actually be the FPS one like that in uppercase. but stuff like that happens, you know. So that's basically how you get stuff like this for companions, because a lot of people use their companions as dot companion instead of use, you know, dot the function name, because you don't really need to do dot companion. So yeah, there's that. There's also the camera here, so you can get the XYZ. Also the current UI, which you can close. It's very useful. You can also get, just gives you the Minecraft UI. You can also get the class name. You can also get this slot under the mouse, which this tells you here that it returns a slot, and this slot here is a wrapped slot by Chattriggers. When we click in here, we can see how you create it. Just creating a new instance of this with the Minecraft slot. Then here are all the functions for it. So we have the display XY, index, inventory, and the item. There's also properties. So, you know, MC slots is a property and stuff like that. So for this, as you can see here, it changes because this is a class on its own, and this one basically just returns you that class. For stuff like this, it doesn't, I don't think it really tells you, yeah, the documentation for it on the extension. So you'll basically just do dot current UI, then dot get slot under mouse, and that's basically it. Well, it's here, so I guess it does, but it just doesn't give you the auto completion for it. It just tells you gets the slot under the mouse if the current UI if one exists. So there's that. Now you can use that like that. Can also go into like text component, for example. So this is just a class, obviously, as a companion. It has fucking nothing, I guess. There's constructor here to how to construct it. You can also construct it with the Minecraft iText component. It has its own functions here. And for example, to use this one get text, because you'll often get linked into something like this. You'll be confused on what to do, but basically you just need a text component instance, and this is the function that you need to call. So let's do that real quick. We do const text equals to new text component, and then here we put whatever text. So now we have a text component instance. We can do text dot get text, and that'll return the text, which should be this one. So yeah, that's basically it for those, for like the Javadocs and stuff. There's obviously more complicated stuff to it, but generally you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly with just understanding the basics of it. It's really not that difficult. Also, like message here. Message is another one that has constructor, different types of constructors. You can also pass in multiple components, like text components, into it, and it basically has its own functions like this and stuff. So that's that. There's also the keybind one, which is going to be this one. Has its own functions as well. Constructors, how to create one, how to check if it's pressed, if it's key down, released. Now, a lot of people struggle to do the keybind ones because they're they're kind of confusing. So I'll show you how to make one. So you can go const my keybind, for example, and we do a new keybind. Like here we'll have the description, and then we'll have a key code, which I usually like to put as none, because so the user sets it for his own thing. You put here the category name, Now here what you can do is do my keybind.register. You either register key down, key press, or key release, whatever you need. But generally, you would need key press to do anything at all. And then here you can just, for example, say something in chat. I'll delete all of this stuff. And then what we can do is go back in game, CT load, and then go into options, controls. It's here. This is a keybind. Set a keybind to it, set it to be, and when we press it, it says send something in chat, because that's what we set it to do. So that's essentially it for this. It has its functions here. This is the one that we're using, and this is how it looks. That's a bit confusing, but it just needs a method, which is just a function basically. So yeah, that's about it for this video.